Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Micah, and with the release of Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore, it's time to go back and rank every film in the Wizarding World. So in March, I rewatched the entire Harry Potter franchise. Now that there is a new release in the Wizarding World, there are 11 films to rank. All 8 Harry Potter films and all 3 Fantastic Beasts films. That's what we're ranking today. So share your ranking in the comments down below. Which one's your favorite, and what do you think about these Fantastic Beasts films? Do you think they should keep making them? But now let's get started with my ranking. Coming in at number 11 is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I just can't stand this movie. It depends on you liking the characters to like the movie, but I found almost all of them to be very annoying. There was nothing in this that reminded me why I like the Harry Potter world. There's not much of a story, and everything about it just annoyed me. It's pretty crazy that David Yates could make all those great Harry Potter films come to life, but also make such a lifeless, terrible film like this. I'm sorry, but I just don't care about Newt Scamander and his gang finding weird animals. There's no point to it. Number 10 is Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. This one is also absolutely horrendous. It's possibly even worse with its jumbled, unfocused plot, but I definitely enjoyed it more than the first because I could laugh at how stupid it was, and it also had a few scenes take place at Hogwarts, which automatically made it better. But this film really has no idea what it wants to be. It wants to keep what the first movie had going with Newt, but it also has the epic story of Grindelwald and it has Dumbledore more, which I like better, but there were so many subplots that are impossible to keep up with, so that none of them became interesting. Horrible film. Number 9 is the newest release, Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. Though these get slightly better, they all suck. Mads Mikkelsen added more personality to Grindelwald than Johnny Depp did, so I like that, and Jude Law was great, but this was an extremely underwhelming film. There was nothing interesting about this, and I don't understand how this was their big plan for the expansion of the Harry Potter world. There's so much better stuff they could do, but instead this is a painfully pointless story. Even when there are huge stakes, I don't feel them. Unlike the previous two, there's nothing completely hateable in this, but it's almost just as frustrating because there's nothing to care about. Number 8 is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. I do believe this movie got most of the boring parts of the book, making it the worst of the main movie series, but it's still alright. The opening is fantastic, as well as the ending with Dobby, but when Harry, Hermione, and Ron are in the forest hunting for Horcruxes over half the time, it makes me want more from this film. I wanted more of the characters back at Hogwarts, but that wasn't focused on at all. Sure, this movie does its job, but it's really all set up for the much more epic finale. It's important, but nowhere near as exciting as literally any other film in the main series. Number 7 is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. This is the movie where you can just tell the story is way bigger than how it played out in the film. It feels so rushed right off the bat when they skip past the Quidditch World Cup. It could have been a great opening, but it feels so off. And if I didn't read the book, I wouldn't have even known what was happening. Then there's also Ron being annoying to both Harry and Hermione for almost the whole movie, and Dumbledore being angry and out of character. The Triwizard Tournament and Voldemort coming back are some of the best things in the entire series, but this movie doesn't do stuff right. It's easily the most inconsistent movie with itself and with the other films. Like, there's so many amazing scenes and awful scenes mixed together, but despite the mess that this kind of is, I find a way to enjoy it anyway. Definitely a disappointment from the book though. I think it would have been way better if Alfonso Cuarón directed this, as well as Prisoner of Azkaban. Number 6 is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. You can't not have fun watching this film. It's an absolute blast that introduces this world incredibly well. Seeing Hogwarts for the first time, being introduced to Harry, the Dursleys, the Weasleys, Hermione, Dumbledore, Hagrid, Draco Malfoy, Snape, and all the legendary characters. It's magic, pun intended. I have to say there's a few things in this film that annoy me a little, like the acting, the conveniences near the end, the chess game doesn't work for me, and when they're all awarded points for Gryffindor like that at the end, it's a little stupid, you have to admit. This story has some problems, but I still love it. To be honest, the movie really did a great job of highlighting and changing what they needed to from the book to make it a good movie. It's very good. Number 5 is The Chamber of Secrets. I don't really understand people saying this is one of the weakest. It's a great movie. I guess people would argue it doesn't add a lot, as it feels a lot like the first film, but the concepts it introduced, like Polyjuice Potion and Horcruxes, became extremely important to the series later on. It also had Dobby and Gilderoy Lockhart, some amazing new additions. Also, this is the only film that has basically everything from the book adapted page for page. They didn't cut anything out really, which could be seen as good or bad. For me, I wasn't bothered by pacing, so I loved it. The mystery throughout is great, and the ending in the chamber is phenomenal. Personally, I like this more than the first one, though they're pretty close. At number 4 is Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. This was easily the most shocking on rewatch. I was blown away how enjoyable this was. I feel like as a book fan this should frustrate me, but it didn't like Goblet of Fire did, because this works as its own movie. The character development of Draco and Snape is super interesting, as well as the slow moments at Hogwarts. Even after the crazy stuff happening in the previous films, this one actually had a lot of normal school life moments, which I appreciated a lot. Then, of course, the ending of Snape killing Dumbledore is amazing. At that point, it seemed like the most hopeless, and that's where this film ends. After Goblet of Fire and Order of the Phoenix, this isn't very epic or exciting, but it's fantastic nonetheless. Number 3 is going to be Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. The near perfect conclusion. What can be said about this one? It's pretty much constant action, but there was no better way to end the franchise. In between the amazing action, it also has great character moments and emotional endings to arcs. This film proves that Snape is the best character of anyone. Those scenes explaining why Snape seemed like such a villain at times are some of the most interesting to me. Other than that, there's not a whole lot to talk about this. It's epic, it's exactly the conclusion this franchise deserved, yet it's not my absolute favorite of these. My runner-up is The Order of the Phoenix. Even though the book is the hardest to get through, the movie is one of my favorites. Somehow by cutting out a lot of the dull parts from the book, the movie made this story even better. The fact is, most of it isn't very enjoyable because of Umbridge, but that's what makes it even more triumphant when it's everyone against her and they win. Fred and George blowing up the exams and flying off is such a legendary moment that is sure to make anyone satisfied watching it. I also love the addition of Luna, Harry taking lead and teaching Defense Against the Dark Arts, and the final showdown in the Ministry of Magic. This really is a gem of a film, and definitely underrated in the series. But first place, it's gotta be The Prisoner of Azkaban. In many ways, this is the least eventful of these movies. There's no giant wizard battle or Voldemort appearance, and yet everyone seems to agree this is the best one. It's so perfect. The Marauders map, Hogsmeade, learning about Harry's parents' time at Hogwarts, the Patronus charm, Dementors, Buckbeak, the Time Turner, Lupin, Peter Pettigrew, and the serious black twist. Tell me this film doesn't introduce all the coolest parts of this series. Alfonso Cuarón's flawless direction also makes this stand out more compared to the rest. So not only is it the most interesting story somehow while staying at Hogwarts, it's also the best made film of them all. So you just can't complain. This is the masterpiece of the series. So thanks for watching. That was my ranking of the Harry Potter franchise, or the Wizarding World. This is probably one of my favorite movie franchises now, even though I used to dislike a lot of these very much. This is a fantastic franchise, even though they might be a little bit disappointing after the books. Thanks for watching. See you next time.